Hello, in this video I'll introduce you to freeform modeling inside of Blender. So I made this right here in less than 5 minutes using very basic Blender tools, and I'll show you how I can do the same. After watching this video, you'll be able to create work like this and impress your family and friends and make people think you've been doing 3D for years when actually you've just been using Blender for a week. No booleans, no commercial add-ons required. So let's start from scratch. I'll just go into new, general, and then don't save. Alright, I can just delete this light and this right here. Alright, we can start with a plane, but let's start with the box for old time's sake. And right away we can just, I like to use the x-axis, alright? We can just hide x and y-axis and turn off the 3D cursor and turn off the floor. Alright, let's select this, tab. Let's go into our face level, select our top face, Control I and X, and we'll delete the faces. Alright, so I'll just select this, right click, and then subdivide. So here's how it works. We're going to go into our modifier panel. We're going to add a mirror modifier, and actually I've got that set to quick favorites, so I can just press my tilde key, activate mirror, X, bisect, flip it. Alright, let's also solidify to give this some thickness. Alright. And then let's also subdivision surface. And then another subdivision surface. So we're actually going to have two. And for your performance sake, you can actually decrease this. For example, 1 in the viewport, or maybe 2 in the viewport, and then 3 or 4 render time for higher quality renders. Now here's how the trick works. For the first subdivision surface modifier, you're going to turn on simple, which is similar to 3ds Max's tessellate mode, that it will pretty much subdivide it without curving anything, without smoothing things out. Alright, and then I can just minimize all of these and we can begin. So we're going to be using basic tools such as move, rotate, and scale. So I'll just go into the edge level. Once again, you press 1, 2, 3 to switch from vertex, edge, and face. Alright, we can select this edge and just begin moving it. And because we've got mirror on, it's going to apply the same results on the other side. So simply just move it out. Then you can hold down Alt and then left click to select the entire loop. And in order to extrude, I like to use one of Blender's hidden tools, the mesh_extrude context, which I have a video on. I've got that set to one of my mouse keys. So once I press that, it has occurred, and now I can just move it or rotate it or scale it afterwards. So remember that when you simply are in the move tool, when you left click, you're moving it in screen space. So simply just move things out until you get interesting shapes. And occasionally you want to use new VMoors modifier tools, bonus utilities. So you want to make sure you have both Smart Frame and bonus utilities. And I've got the modifiers right here set to spacebar. So occasionally you want to just toggle that off so you can see the mesh without anything applied. As you can see, you get very nice results while keeping the mesh very simple. And that's one of the powerful things about this, and how even beginners can create really nice looking artwork here. Alright, occasionally you want to maybe insert a loop. Alright. Select this and move this. Alright, let's turn on the modifiers. Alright, getting some interesting results already. Alright, so we can just continue with this. And actually in this case I want to extrude all this, so I'll just hold down Alt and then left click. Occasionally you may want to scale things and then move things. Just kind of move things around and get an eye for creating interesting shapes. Maybe in this situation I can deselect these, maybe move this further away, get this kind of detail, maybe insert a loop here. And then I can get a different shape going right here. Maybe rotate a little bit. Occasionally you want to maybe use vertices as well. So you can see how I'm just turning the toggle on and off very quickly just to see what the result looks like. Alright, so that is the first piece of the puzzle, and just get used to doing that. Just get used to extruding and rotating and scaling and moving, and inserting some loops if you need to. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the cut tool to separate different parts of this mesh. And so I've got that set to Alt-C, which is the same thing for cut in 3ds Max, except here it's called knife. Alright, so I'm just going to left click, spacebar to confirm that. Now, using this technique, using this method, you don't have to worry too much about topology, but maybe it's a good idea just to kind of get rid of these n-gons, just like so. Alright, once you've done that, we can press 3 to switch to faces, and we can select this face. I'll press W to switch to move tool, select, hold down Control, alright, and then you can detach. I've got that set to D, detach the selection. And the great thing about this is that all the modifiers are still intact here. So now what I can do to activate the modifiers for all of them is to press space for modifier tools, hold down shift for all, and then toggle it all on, and there we go. And you can see when I have two separate meshes. Now you do notice that we get a little bit of a curved result. So what we can do is go into the first subdivision surface modifier, maybe increase this to 3 for example. That'll make it sharper. But it will really slow down your performance. So maybe another way we can do this is we can just insert a loop through here just to help out the subdivision, and maybe right here. Alright, and you can do the same for this as well. You notice how performance is really kind of slow, so that's why I like to just toggle it off and get back to fast performance. Alright, so let's go ahead and create a separate material just so we can visually distinguish this. So we'll go into our material properties and plus, new, and we'll scroll down here and we'll go into viewport display. We'll change this to a darker gray color. Then we can just simply drag this onto our object, and there we are. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Simply continue doing this until you get some nice results. So let's just use the cut tool, and so we can continue to separate things. Left click, let's say right here, left click space, left click space. 3, left click, I want to switch to W first, move, left click, hold Control, and then detach. Alright, let's create a third material. Let's give this something other than a gray color, maybe a nice blue. Actually, I'll make this one blue. I'll make this one the darker gray, and I'll just make it even darker here. Alright. Space, Shift, Enable, and there we are. And so the topology, as you can see, is still very simple. So it's very easy for us to continue to extrude this. Sometimes instead of having this kind of topology, you want to go this way and then this way. Well, the great thing about this method is that you don't have to worry about topology that much at all. So you can have fun with triangles and even n-gons. So here you can use the box selection method and just select all this. Or maybe I want to deselect this, so I can use subtract, right, and detach. And I can simply hold down Alt and left click on this to loop this and detach it very quickly. Alright, space, shift, enable, alright. And so what we can also do is quickly separate this. For example, here notice we're getting this kind of needle shape, needle point, which I don't want. So what I can do is just space and then shift and disable all of it. What I can do is select multiple objects and then press tab to edit them all at once. I can press A to select everything and then move it all to the left. And notice how we get this result now. So we can easily just kind of move this and rotate it all apart. And now we've got this different result. What we can also do is change the shape of multiple ones very quickly. So I will select both of these, or maybe I can just edit one at a time. So I can use knife, and I can simply left click, space, and then left click, space. Alright, tab, select this object, tab, and now I can press F4, and that is the wireframe hotkey that I use, because when I'm editing this object, you can see I cannot see the wireframes of other objects. So I press F4, I can see that, which means now I can use the cut tool to match the cuts like so. And so now what I can do is select multiple objects, tab, and I want to make sure I switch this back to the default. And what I can do is select all these faces. I can easily just move this and rotate it and scale this. And so we can actually modify multiple objects at once with this. What we can do is actually make several cuts, so like so, and then we can make one that's a little bit wider, and then another one that's even wider. Alright, and so in this case I can actually delete these polygons. Alright, X and then delete. You do a little bit of cleanup. As you can see, the topology is still very messy, but we're just going to use the modifier tools, shift and then enable, and we can see how all of it looks. You can see how we start getting some nice impressive results. And sometimes we get a little bit of pinching, but sometimes the pinching and strangeness can actually help you with your designs. You can see how here, it looks a little bit strange here, but it's actually going to kind of this nice look which we can further work with. So for example, I can go to the vertex level, select this, and move this out. And now we're getting some interesting results here. Right, what I can also do is, let's say, just cut. Alright, and then I can cut again, but this time I'll make a slightly different cut. So you can see, for example, here I've changed the shape. It's not even as it is here. I also just want to cut here as well. Alright, then what I can do is Select these faces. Just kind of move a little bit. And there we are. Now we get this interesting result as well. Actually, I think I will prefer a red for now. Alright, so as you can see, we got some pretty nice results, but we've barely done anything at all. And we've got the topology so nice and simple that you can very easily modify this and just add a whole lot more detail or a whole lot less detail very quickly. So have fun using this technique.